Distinguished Professor at Touro University, Thane Rosenbaum, and Executive Director for Heritage Action, Jessica Anderson. Thane, I think a lot of people expected this outcome. Any surprises regarding striking down the student loan program?
Not really. I mean, this is an example of circumventing Congress. Congress has the power of the purse. There is something called the major questions doctrine, which means if something is huge, either fiscally, financially, or politically, the Congress doesn't delegate it to the executive branch. This was an overreach by the Biden administration, not unlike what happened last year when I was on your show with respect to a moratorium on evictions for rental properties and vaccine mandates. The Supreme Court in the last 2 years has struck down several attempts by the Biden administration to undertake tasks under the executive branch that really belonged to Congress. And so he overreached his authority. He may have made a promise to the public what he wanted to do with student aid, but he didn't have the authorization to do so.
Jessica, we're understanding that the president will be speaking at the White House at about 3:30 p.m. today. Senator Chuck Schumer has already been quoted as saying that the president has additional avenues that he could use to continue to give basically a plan B to the student loan situation. Your thoughts about that?
Well, first off, this is a huge victory for the American people, especially all of us that didn't want to pay an additional $2,000 in individual taxes because of this student loan amnesty that Biden was trying to jam through. And so it's no surprise that he's going to take to the bully pulpit, if you will, of the Oval Office to try to jam this student loan amnesty through another route. That could be another type of an executive order. He could make this a big policy platform of his 2024 presidential election. Those really are the only two outlets that he has because he can't go through Congress, which, as Thane described, actually holds the power of the purse here. And SCOTUS just knocked down the overreach by the administration. So he doesn't have a lot left other than the political avenue of making this a 2024 platform for him.
Yeah, that's exactly what he's going to do. And we're going to hear a lot more about that, I'm sure, in the coming days, weeks, months. Thane, let me switch the attention a little bit as somebody that works at a college versus someone like myself paying college tuition. If you start at what the tuition and fees and board, you know, it's gone up exorbitantly, even compared to inflation over the past 20, 30 years. How does that stop, especially when you see some of these endowments with billions of dollars in some cases that you know they don't need the money per se?
So, Bob, that's one thing that I thought President Biden should do and say. Yeah. He should say, here's what I'm going to do for students. I'm going to reduce inflation, and I'm going to go to the universities and say, we have to have a very serious heart-to-heart talk about how much tuition costs when you're sitting on billions and billions of dollars from your donors as part of your endowment. It's time to use your endowment. This country requires this at this time. You know, many of these universities, like Harvard, has, you know, endowments greater than most countries around the world. So, you know, that's something he could have done, but clearly he politically wants to be able to show, you know what's going to happen. He's going to say, every time I tried to fight against the MAGA Republicans on the Supreme Court, all of the Trump appointees on the court, they stymied me. But I'm there for you. I'm a progressive, and I'm going to do whatever is necessary. So he's taking a political position. I don't think he has a legal right to do this. But I think he's just going to say, you know what? I'm your president. I'm the president that's making promises. It's not my fault. The red states won't cooperate.
Yeah, throwing spaghetti against the wall, so to speak. Jessica, about 20 seconds, final thoughts.
Well, I would say giddy up. This is exactly what is going to be everything that voters are going to be talking about in 2024. Where are these candidates actually falling on the issues? And do they use the law to advance their agenda, or do they take and weaponize the law against the American people? I think the choice is very simple in 2024. And this overreach that we're seeing from the left, from Biden, thankfully, it was slapped back by SCOTUS with the student loan. Two other great cases real quickly this week, the 301 creative free speech case and ending racial discrimination at Harvard with affirmative action. So a big win, big wins for the American people from the Supreme Court.
All right, Jessica Anderson, Thane Rosenbaum, thank you. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.